I love that prayer. Spirit of life and love, light within and without, mystery from which we have all emerged, within which we live and die, be with us now as we allow ourselves to drop into the silence and stillness at the center of our being. Let us drop into that silence and stillness together now. Let loose the stresses of this world, this day, this week, this time, and open your heart to the vast mystery of creation. Breathe in that vastness. Breathe in that wonder. Breathe in the beauty that is creation. And coffee. In all that is our world, in the science and wonder around us, there exist things still beyond our understanding. There is such deep mystery around and within us. The finest minds in history continue to devote themselves to the eternal task of revealing the truths of the universe. Scientists in laboratories explore the cosmos, while philosophers and seers and poets and mystics explore things that science is unequipped to address. Things like kindness and compassion, love and generosity. Science does well studying things that follow a certain order or function, physical or energetic things that exist in 3 dimensions or in time that is linear. Physics, gravity, magnetic attraction and resistance of electrons and protons and all that stuff. A plant takes in nutrients, converts them to food, and releases waste in the form of oxygen. That is a sort of transactional nature. Stuff goes in, it gets used, and stuff is produced. But human emotions are different. Some emotions or behaviors appear to follow the same rules as those that govern our physical world. There is a need, which when quenched, ceases to exist. A hole in the ground or in our bodies can be filled, healed, repaired, covered over. But what of the spirit world? I'm not speaking about spirits in this case like those scary stories told around campfires or legends of ghosts or creatures from a time when magic was the standard answer for much of life's mystery. I'm talking about the spirit of our hearts, the emotions that appear as illogical and irrational and ungovernable and occasionally self-destructive. The realm of the human spirit is as vast and expansive as the cosmos in which we live, filled with experiences and emotions that shape and motivate us in a variety of ways. What is it that causes one abused child to grow up bitter and mean, while another, similarly mistreated, grows up to be generous and forgiving? Psychologists and others have spent lifetimes trying to explain the vagaries of the human spirit, because we as humans have a burning desire to understand things, to figure them out, dissect and explain, find the rational reasons for cause and effect, and then to file that data away in archives and repositories, little boxes where the theories remain until challenged by new learning. But the truth of the matter is that there are some things that seem likely to forever remain beyond our understanding. Will we ever be able to fully understand the human brain? Albert Einstein said the best most of us do is use 10%. Treatment of illness in the human brain is still rudimentary in terms of science. Some of the still best treatment involves essentially hitting the reset button with electroshock therapy. Just sort of touch jumper cables to it and see what happens. I have faith that we will advance beyond that, but for all else that we have been able to achieve, it seems that we are lacking in that particular realm. Perhaps someday scientists will achieve that end, but until then we must grapple with the mystery in our present experience. Love is such an irrational, weird thing. In Christian scriptures, the Apostle Paul wrote to the emerging church in Corinth about the nature of love. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. Ancient Hebrew and Greek texts describe love in a variety of ways. There is typically four forms. There's eros, which is romantic or erotic love. There's philia, which is friendship or kinship kind of love. There's storge, which is a love of family members, parents and siblings. And then there's agape, which is the love of God. Now, Hebrew scholars, when explaining the biblical concept of love to those who may neither be Hebrew nor scholar, point to the language in Deuteronomy to illustrate. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. In this language, love, or ahava, is infused with a secondary characteristic beyond affection or sort of emotional warmth, a kind of embodiment with your heart and soul and strength. It sort of imbues a commitment, a kind of loyalty or faithfulness to the love of the divine. Let these commandments be on your hearts. Teach your children. Keep them with you always. And in Christian scriptures, Jesus refers to that same passage in Deuteronomy. When in the Gospel of Matthew, he is challenged, the Pharisees, one of them, an expert in the law, tested him with this question, "Teacher, what is the greatest commandment in the law?" And Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. And all the law and all the prophets hang on those two commandments." Spirit of life and love, light within and without, mystery from which we have all emerged, within which we live and die. Be with us now as we allow ourselves to drop into the silence and stillness at the center of our beings. Let us breathe in again that silence and stillness at the center of our beings. Let us marvel at the mystery we find there. The world is imperfect, chaotic, where resources and justice are not allotted in a fair fashion. As creatures of this world, we too are imperfect and some could say chaotic and unfair. We find ourselves falling short of our ideals, failing the people and things that feel most important to us. How can we hope to prevail against so much chaos and irrationality? How can we hope to bring order and justice, compassion and love to a universe that is so mad? The short answer, of course, is that we cannot. We are mere humans, infinitesimally small specks in the vastness of the cosmos. And yet, we understand the enormity of the feeling of love in our lives. When we feel loved, or when we feel deep love for another, the terrifying scale of the universe falls away, and we are wrapped in the power of that love. We fear that our love is insufficient to heal the brokenness of our world, insufficient to bring into alignment all that is wrong or askew or just a little bit sideways from what is right. I return again to the human impulse for sorting and fixing and finding answers that are neat and orderly and finite. Alas, we as humans are imperfect and irrational in our own desire for order, as the universe is imperfect and irrational in providing such closure. When truth and knowledge, like the universe itself, continue to be revealed and understood, nothing is finite. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is set, as it were, in stone. 19th century Unitarian minister Theodore Parker wrote and spoke his thoughts about that which is permanent and which is transient in Christianity. Nearly lost his church because of it. Knowledge, he said, and the interpretation of that knowledge is what is transient in religion, because knowledge is forever being changed by emerging truth. What is permanent, though, is a deep truth rooted in love, as described by both Hebrew and Christian texts, embodied, loyal, generous, neither boastful, proud, or jealous, but abiding, lasting, and miraculous. It is worth noting that neither Hebrew nor Christian texts describes love as perfect, unerring, or fair. Love is as open-ended and revolutionary as the expanding cosmos. As humans, we tend to sell ourselves short. We consider the labels of imperfect and irrational as negative things. Yet we understand that the universe is irrational and imperfect because we use those worlds to build boundaries around behavior and phenomena that can be explained by our current scientific understandings. As humans, we take it as a personal affront that the universe defies being boxed in by our meager attempts to define it. It is that irrationality that offers us an opportunity to perform magic, because we are every bit as magical and amazing and expansive as the universe to which we so readily acknowledge our connection to and interdependence upon. Popular astrophysicist, that narrows it down, right, isn't it? And I would argue philosopher Neil deGrasse Tyson offers his assessment of the human condition even as he looks up at the stars in the heavens. And this is one of the things that I love about his approach to science, is that he can see and appreciate the beauty in the mystery, in the unknowing, as an adventure. And he describes the sky. He says, look up see those lights flashing like paparazzi? Each one is a supernova, the blazing death of a giant star. Stars die and are born in places like this one, a stellar nursery. They condense like raindrops from giant clouds of gas and dust. They get so hot that the nuclei of the atoms fuse together deep within them to make the oxygen we breathe, the carbon in our muscles, the calcium in our bones, the iron in our blood. All was cooked in the fiery hearts of long-vanished stars. You, me, everyone, we are made of star stuff. With each and every one of us made of literal stardust, how can we doubt then that we have the power to effect change in our small little corner of the universe? We fear that our humanity limits our capacity to effect change, but that runs counter to an understanding of ourselves as made of the same material as the stars in the heavens. Poet Marianne Williamson honestly makes my teeth itch a lot of days. But she says some amazing things. She advises us that we are not meant to present ourselves as undersized versions of ourselves to the world. Our deepest fear, she writes, is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And that famous passage is from her book, A Return to Love, Reflections on the Principles of A Course in Miracles, which is popular in a number of Unitarian Universalist congregations. How could anyone say that love is anything less than miraculous and beautiful and healing and powerful and magic and true? We, you and I, were born to offer this amazing, magical, irrational gift of love to the world. And we were born with the blessing of an expansive mind, one that, despite its affection for sharp lines of definition, is capable of believing in realities beyond that which we can describe or define in up-close and personal terms. We know that the universe is vast and amazing without having to visit each star system to deem it so. We too can know that the power of our love can affect change. We have witnessed it. We have received it. We have felt it. We have the capacity to create and offer that love on our own. December is the season of holidays and holy days. The Earth is nearing the nadir of its annual trek around our star and preparing to again welcome sunlight in a new year. Let us greet this time and one another with the love that we have been wired to offer. And may we find this still, quiet place where we are able to receive the love the universe has to offer us. Amen. I invite you now to rise